Honey Baked Ham Company.
Need peace of mind with your estate planning? Turn to Bill and Hebert, your trusted Acadiana hometown lawyers. At Bill and Hebert, we make estate planning simple and stress-free, ensuring your legacy is secure and your future is in the right hands. Don't wait. Schedule your consultation today at BillHebert.com. That's BillHebert.com. Safeguarding your tomorrow today.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up!
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys! Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros took the series victory with last night's 5-1 win over the New York Yankees. Hayden Wesneski and the rest of the Astros bullpen had a great night, holding the Yankees to only 5 hits and 2 walks. Next up for the Astros, they'll stay in the Big Apple and head a few streets over to take on the New York Mets tonight. First pitch is at 6:10 p.m., and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. The New Orleans Saints will play their final preseason game of the year tonight in AT&T Stadium as they take on the Dallas Cowboys. Coach Kellamore already stated that the majority of the starters will not take any snaps tonight for the 3rd straight game. Kickoff between the Saints and the Cowboys is at 7 p.m. in AT&T Stadium. The FBS side of college football gets their 2026 season underway this weekend with 8 Week 0 games going on Saturday. The marquee game will also be the first of the day between North Carolina and TCU in the Aer Lingus Classic in Dublin, Ireland. The Horned Frogs are a 9.5-point favorite over the Tar Heels, and kickoff is at 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Also on the gridiron in the FCS level, the McNeese Cowboys will begin their season and conference play this Saturday with the defending Southland champions, Stephen F. Austin. The Lumberjacks are a 13.5-point favorite over the Cowboys, and kickoff is Saturday at 6 p.m. from the VAR Stadium. And Louisiana Christian made history yesterday by beating Northwestern State 42-37. The win is only the 13th time ever that an NAIA program has defeated a D1 program. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the LohDown. It is Friday, August the 28th. Did have to check the watch for the day of the month. This time of year, man, it all starts to blur. It all starts to run together. The good news is I think we'll get back into a rhythm when it's like football season and you start to, I don't know if any of y'all do this. For me, like the day of the week is kind of associated with what football game's on that night. So like I don't think, oh, it's Monday. I think, oh, the Jets play the Broncos tonight on Monday Night Football. And then I backtrack to go, that means today's Monday. I don't know if it's the best way to do things, but it's how I do things, at least during football season.
It's not efficient.
Yeah, maybe not, but these thoughts happen very quickly in my head. It probably took longer for me to explain it to you.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, so we're at that point now, but I do know that today is Friday, and I do know that I'm excited for it to be Friday. Obviously, for us in this industry, we have a lot of stuff, a lot of moving pieces going around as football season begins. We're trying to make sure our T's are crossed, I's are dotted. There will be 6 high school football broadcasts on the Delta Media family of stations beginning next Friday night with Week 1. Jamborees around the state tonight. I did get that question a little bit, by the way. We don't have broadcast for the Jamborees. We're going to start off with week 1 broadcast. So if you're looking for Catholic High New Iberia football, the St. Landry game of the week, STM, Barb, North Vermilion, or LRCA, all of those broadcasts will, of course, kick off with week number 1, and we'll have you all the way through the season, all 10 regular season games, home or away for all 6 of those, of course, one of them being a parish-wide game of the week with St. Landry, STM on 103.7, Barb on 104.1 in Lake Charles. That's the only kind of special exemption, which that's, of course, been that way for a long time. So excited about that. I might even swing by the Haynes Academy Jamboree tonight. I will have Coach PJ Sprunk on the show next week, leading the charge with the Yellow Jackets. Now, is it a bit of a self-serving interview because it's my alma mater and it's not necessarily in the Lafayette area? Yes, I'll admit that up front, but he's done a lot to build up that program. He was not the coach when I was there. I did not know him prior to last offseason, but he did reach out to me, and he's been doing a lot to get the alumni base involved, and I really think he's got a unique perspective on like building up excitement around a high school football program. And if I haven't gotten your attention yet, the Yellow Jackets starting quarterback this season is named Breeze. So I think that's enough to bring Coach Sprunk on and talk a little bit about the season. I have not nailed down a date yet, but I actually look forward to hopefully seeing him tonight because I'll be in New Orleans for a function, and I might have a chance to swing by and watch a little high school football tonight. Get me back in the prep football mentality. Might be seeing a whole lot of prep football this season. Maybe maybe a little more than I was even planning to a couple weeks ago. James will know what that's about. Anyway, in addition to all that, we've got 2 Preview 32s to do today. We've got the McNeese Cowboys. They play a football game that counts in the conference standings tomorrow. Last night, we had one of the biggest upsets in college football. One of the biggest upsets in college football history. I don't think it's that far of a stretch to say. It's not maybe at the scale of App State over Michigan, but Louisiana Christian beating Northwestern State has a historical significance that goes along with it that I don't know if it can be overstated, just how rare it was. It's the type of rare thing where, like, James and I were discussing it in RP3 as well. You're kind of looking at the stat keeping going, well, I'm kind of hearing different things about how big this upset was, and I think that's because the records are a little bit tough to track down on how many times something like that has happened. Louisiana Christian, an NAIA school, and they took down an FCS-level opponent in Northwestern State. So that one, of course, has Southland Conference ties. You also saw Houston Christian pull off a big upset. Football's back, and we're going to talk about it with Chaston Tavares at the bottom of hour number 1, his normal time slot, 1:30. We'll, of course, also preview McNeese and Stephen F. Austin. RP3 and Blake Purser are headed to Lake Chuck tomorrow to represent the station and cover that game for us. That should be fun. Should have a nice crowd there on hand. Hopefully the weather cooperates. I know earlier in the week we had all these storm cells rolling through, but it looks like tomorrow's going to be much, much better. So that should be good as well. We've got the Tour Championship going on. Our other 2 guests, by the way, we've got Louis DiBiase to talk Philadelphia Eagles, and we've got Tyler Rowland to talk Tennessee Titans. So we'll have one from the AFC, one from the NFC. We got a whole lot to get to. So with all that being said, let's start by getting locked in on a great Astros victory.
D-Loh is the kind of guy that stays locked in. On what? Well, that depends on the night. But you can guarantee there was some sporting event that he found interesting. It's time to find out what D-Loh was locked in on the LohDown.
Okay, so the Astros played the Yankees again last night, and I did want to bring up a couple stats just because I think the guys who do the broadcasts in Robert Ford and Steve Sparky, who we had on the show earlier this week, they do such a great job. And I happened to get a chance to listen to most of last night's game because I was driving around town a little bit. Some of the stats they come up with, and I know they have help on this, so their whole team is great. Jeremy Pena leads the major leagues with a batting average of .392 on fastballs over 95 miles an hour. The first thing I thought about when I heard that stat was, imagine how difficult that stat would have been to track down a handful of years ago. Fortunately now, the way the game's progressed, we have all these different things, whether it's StatCast, whether it's, the ABS system that tracks balls and strikes, all these databases and TrackMan data, whether, I think that's a little more prevalent in college, but all these different things that give us that information. But also, how impressive is that? We're talking any baseball, like not just, on the Astros. Jeremy Pena leads baseball in batting average on pitches with high velocity, essentially, right? Anything you'd grade out as a really fast fastball, 96 or above. Now, Jeremy certainly struggles with sliders, and sometimes he chases them rather frustratingly. But I did think that was a cool stat, and he is really having quite an impressive season. And he is opposite last night, a guy in George Lombard Jr., who, yes, I sent a few texts to some Yankee fan friends about how tough it's been to watch him play shortstop in this series. Yes, I understand that the kid's 21 years old, and he is a first-round draft pick, and he's got a ceiling that is to the roof. So it's not attempt to bag on the kid, but he's now made an error in 6 straight games. He's made 6 errors in 6 games. He made another costly one last night that immediately led to another Astros run. The error he made in Game 2 also led to an Astros run. It was just tough to watch. It's almost like he's got the yips at shortstop sometimes, but it's not with the throws. It's with fielding ground balls. And he let another one just, the one yesterday was just kind of, it was a hard hit ball, but it's one you expect a big league shortstop to get in front of and knock down at the very least. Then last night, just on the run, coming in, bobbles it. It flips up to the third baseman who was playing third last night, Caballero, who then fires it wildly, and the Astros get another run out of it. It was interesting. But the Stros played about as clean a baseball game as they've played in a long time. They got a nice start from Hayden Wesneski, who I continue to believe in as maybe the second most reliable starter on this staff right now behind Hunter Brown. I think he's kind of sliding into that spot that Peter Lambert occupied for so much of the season. He only goes 5 innings, but only allowed 3 hits, 1 run, struck out 6. He was excellent. The Astros bullpen was great. Okert gave him an inning. They got 2 from A.J. Blueball, which was huge to bridge the gap. I didn't love the fact that they had to use Josh Hader, but he's also awesome. Another scoreless inning. This time he doesn't get credit for a save because it was a 4-run lead. But his ERA is down to 0.79. So that is, I know ERA is a pretty common stat. You probably get how it works in case you don't. Every 9 innings that Josh Hader pitches, he allows less than 1 earned run. It takes more than 9 innings usually for a team to put a run on him. He has been unbelievable. And then Isak had a nice piece hitting the other way. Christian Walker went 3 for 4. It was just as well played a game. The Astros didn't make any errors defensively, and they win this thing 5-1. They beat Garrett Cole, by the way, as well. So, former Astro, you always want to beat your former Stros, and they did a nice job of doing that. Some of the reason I bring this up as well is because I was sitting there this morning and was actually kind of looking ahead because we're kind of deciding all the events that we're going to try and travel to, what's feasible for us, what's not. And so we sat there, RP3 and I were like, what about playoff baseball? If the Astros get in it, like when could we go over to Houston and maybe cover that series? And like when would they be at home? Would they be away? And this is the scenario I came up for you, okay? The Astros right now sit 1 game up on the Rangers in the divisional, in the AL West. If they win the division, they would be guaranteed some home games. Either as the 3 seed, they would then have to play in the AL wildcard game, which is a 3-game series all in one place. Remember, you don't travel in the wildcard series. So Houston would host that series against whoever the 6th seed was. If they actually move up and pass the White Sox, who only right now sit 3.5 games ahead of the Astros, if they pass the White Sox, they would become the 2 seed and have a bye into the ALDS, despite the fact that right now they are even 500. And you might say, well, 3.5 games, that's not nothing. You're correct. But guess who the Astros play at home starting on Monday? The White Sox. 4-game series at Daikin Park. So it's going to be Jim Gazzolo hate week for Kevin Foote next week. We'll see how that goes. But they could make up a ton of ground. If they win 3 out of 4 or sweep the White Sox, they're going to be right there in the mix. On the other hand, all that's great, right? How bad could it be? As of now, by tomorrow, the Astros could be tied for the division lead. By Sunday, they could be out of the playoffs altogether if things don't go their way. Actually, by Saturday night, depending how late you're willing to stay up. So, in a week or two, the Astros could move all the way up to the 2 seed, have a first-round bye, and have home field advantage in a potential best-of-5 ALDS, or they could be out of the playoffs altogether, 7th or 8th in the American League, and still fighting to just be a part of the postseason at all. That's how close things are, and also it speaks to how less than stellar the American League has been outside of the AL East, which has 3 teams with more than 70 wins. How about that? The American League East has 3 teams that have 70 wins or more. Actually, I say more than 70. The rest of the American League has no teams with more than 70 wins. The White Sox are right at that 70 mark, so they barely qualify for one of those categories, but not the second one. It has been a strange season in the American League. The National League looks much more traditional, where there's at least one really good team in every league. How about this is another one? The American League has one team in every division with at least 79 wins. I said the American League, the National League. That's what I meant. The National League has one team in each division with 79 or more wins. The American League has one total, and it's the Rays, and they have exactly 79. So anyway, I just was going through some of those Astros scenarios. That series next week against the White Sox, I'm not going to call it the most important of the year because winning the division's probably more important than trying to get that 2-seed spot. But boy, could things change in a hurry, and we will have to stay up to date on all those things as we move towards the end of the regular season. All right, let's go ahead and do this. We'll take a break. When we return, we got some weird stories in the world of sports. I guess I'll just briefly hit on a couple. I know James Mesh is going to be excited to at least mention one of these things that's maybe off of your radar about a player who's apparently pulled off a pretty nice little fraudulent scheme. We'll do that after the break. It's the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
With storm season in full swing, ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station and Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley bring you these hurricane safety tips. Make sure to secure your home and bring in outdoor items before the storm makes landfall. Have an emergency kit stocked with water, food, and medications. Know your evacuation routes and listen to local authorities. Stay informed with the battery-powered radio. Make sure you have fresh batteries. Remember, safety is in your hands. These hurricane preparedness tips are powered by Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley. Your local Generac dealer. Visit midsouthpowersolutions.com.
Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of 4 Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
BB's Auto Sales has been serving Acadiana since 1966. Cleanest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Need financing? No problem. BB's offers easy financing for all credit types, including in-house financing. Plus, they're paying top dollar for your trade. Voted top 3 dealership in Community Choice Awards 2 years in a row. Visit BB's Auto Sales, 2 convenient locations off Johnston Street and in Abbeville. bbsautosales.com. Cleanest cars in Acadiana.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or a warm meal to eat, or whether anyone cares about them.
But the reality is, 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year.
But the good news is, there's an organization making a big difference. Covenant House.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and the tools they need to succeed in life.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life. They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, and love, most of all love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges, and their lives are transformed.
Covenant House is changing the lives of young people in cities across America.
To learn more, go to covenanthouse.org today. Thank you for caring.
You're listening to the 2026 LAB Award winner for Radio Young Professional of the Year, Dawson Iserloh, the host of the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Okay, so this story, man, this made my Friday. It was a very stressful Friday for me. And this story kind of brought me back to you know what? Life's not that serious. Let's just enjoy ourselves. This part, I'll get this one out of the way because I just wanted to mention this. The whole Good Callaway story, if you've been following that in the world of golf, just wild to me. There's a lot of, different elements of it, and it just keeps getting wilder and wilder. Like today, the Good CEO was firing off tweets against Callaway. But I don't want to dive into that one because that one's a little more complicated. This one's something else. James Mesh sent this to me this morning. There is apparently a former. Well, he's not a former player.
No.
Let's not say that. A former alleged San Francisco 49ers player apparently had this whole scheme, and I mean this is well thought out, and was convincing women that he was either trying to date or pretending to date, and then also stealing money from them perhaps at different points. He also had fake Instagram accounts. This guy that pretended to play for the 49ers, I mean, there were layers to this story. James, I mean, what was this guy's end goal? I mean, I guess getting all this money that he did for a while until he got caught. I mean, this was something else. What's the guy's name?
Yeah, so it's 35-year-old Dejan Love.
Okay. And I mean, look, name sounds like a guy who could play in the NFL. His look, I mean, he's a well-built guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. I mean, I dug into the rabbit hole a little bit. I saw some of the videos that were apparently on his Instagram of him running routes.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
They were not NFL caliber routes. But at the same time, if you're, if some random prospective 25-year-old girl is looking at that and she's not an NFL fan, I don't know if she'd have been able to tell that he wasn't like an NFL. So I guess that's how this was working. But, I mean, nobody caught this guy for how long?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long it went, but basically he got arrested. He defrauded 26 women and overall got $1.3 million through the netting of it all. He to kind of add on to it, I've noticed a lot of women when they do their own research for their friends or whatever, they'll usually look towards the guy's Instagram account. So with him defrauding these women,
yeah,
he was going straight to the source of I know they're going to look me up on Instagram to see if I'm legit rather than just do a Google search or find the team's website and try to find my name there. Which it would have easily just gotten, you could have easily just defrauded it right there. But he flooded his Instagram with him doing just daily workout videos that a wide receiver or just an NFL player probably would do. He did videos of him running routes on the beach, doing over the shoulder catches, and all while wearing 49ers gear and buying a 49ers helmet. He tried to do as good of a job as possible to make it look legit. And look, if I didn't know any better, I could have been yeah, that looks like a pro player. Especially he flooded his story of him explaining how the logistics work of being an NFL player. He's yeah, I know a lot of people have said this is how this works. And look, I'm here to debunk all that. I know a lot of people have asked me questions about he's had so many he's put up so many different Instagram stories. He made his highlight stories.
I saw also he had fake screenshots made of Google search results that where the Google AI would basically say, yeah, this guy's a receiver for the 49ers.
Yeah.
He's on their social media. He's on their team page.
Yeah. So basically it seemed like Google AI, it grabs information.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he put so much misinformation out there about himself.
Fooled it into being real.
That he fooled AI into thinking that this is real.
This guy's incredible. I mean, and so I'm sure the story at some point will explain it, but I don't know exactly how this immediately led to him then getting millions of dollars from women because I don't know, just traditionally.
Be hey, invest into me.
Yeah, I saw that too. Apparently he had some fake companies as well that he was getting people to invest in.
It was because he used fake bank statements. He rented luxury cars, created fake dating app profiles, and posted daily videos of him training in 49ers gear to scam these women, basically being hey, if you give me $100,000 or whatever, like you'll be able to invest into me, and I'll be able to the money that I get, I'll be able to give it back to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know exactly how all of it works or how it all worked, but I mean, the dude got money out of it.
Did he ever stop and wonder? It might have been more easy for him to find some NCAA eligibility and actually go play football than it was to do all this extra activity. I don't know if he was actually good enough to do. I'm kidding, by the way. That's a joke about NCAA eligibility and professionals. But man, you remember that story a while back too that came up? There was like a 32-year-old guy who was playing high school basketball for a whole season, like went to high school every day.
No.
I don't remember anything about the names or anything in it, but I do remember there was this guy who basically moved to a different area, enrolled in a high school, told them he was like 17, got eligible, played, and apparently was like putting up numbers. Like was averaging like 20
He's a
points
grown
a game.
man.
Yeah, and I guess he just had like a baby face, and people just kind of, I got held back a couple times.
But also a lot of like high schoolers, you'll be like, are you sure you're not like 28 or something? Like you look like a grown man.
Yeah, but when they're actually 17 and they just look 28, then I feel like.
But that's what I'm saying. Like there's such a blur. Like unless there's gray in their hairs or like they got real crow's feet, you're like, you probably could pass off.
So it's not the first time something like this has happened, but I mean, hopefully those women and people who thought they invested in a company get their money back. And this guy's probably going to jail. I don't know for sure, but it sounds like that's where he's headed. And apparently there was an accomplice as well. Somebody was helping him.
Yeah, an 18-year-old that was acting as his financial advisor.
I mean,
both of them got arrested at an airport.
That's tough. That's tough. Man, what a story. You never know. You never know what you're going to come across. All right, so that was on a lighter note. We usually do get on a lighter note with Chaston Tavares as well. His Boston Red Sox are still in a good spot. They're still hanging around the wild card race. They are. I was hoping they're going to put some pressure on the Yankees and the Rays for the division. Well, maybe mostly the Yankees, but the Astros did help the Red Sox out this week. So Chaston should be in a good mood to talk to us. And he's got McNeese tomorrow. We've got McNeese tomorrow. He was also tuning in for some of the action last night, so we got to ask him about a wild night in the Southland Conference. So, yeah, I think we have a lot to get to with Chaston Tavares. Let's do that after the break and after we talk about our friends at Small Sliders. You are listening to The LohDown. It's ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station on a Friday. Stay with us.
This is The LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Small Sliders of Lafayette was telling you they had their big National Dog Day promotion. That was a whole lot of fun. They also, if you check in the Ambassador Caffrey location, they've been doing some great stuff in the community. They stopped by the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office to provide them some lunch. So always active in the community. Our friends over at Small Sliders staying active on all those types of things. But remember as well, I've been telling you for a little while now, those tailgate packs, that's what you're going to want to be keeping your eyes on in addition to grabbing lunch or dinner there anytime. If you got a big party or event coming up, want to get everything set up for that big tailgate. Maybe it's a Friday night. Maybe you're going to get out tailgate before the big high school games on a Friday. You're out at Cajun Field on a Saturday. Whatever it is, get Small Sliders to make it a whole lot easier. I mean, when you're planning a party, you already got all the logistics. Where's everybody going to park? Where are we going? What are we doing? How's the setup? Who's got the tent? How about take one thing off your plate? Let Small Sliders handle the food. At least let them handle the appetizers and, the entrees with the sliders, the fries, the queso, the small sauce. Whether it's the main course or just an appetizer, they can do it for you. They can, whatever number of sliders you need from 30 on the way up to however many, I don't know how they'd feel if you ordered 2,000 of them, but I think our friend Steve and company, they'd get it done. So call Small Sliders today or stop by. There are 2 locations in the Lafayette area, Ambassador Caffrey or Bertrand Drive. Slide through. Tell them D-Loh sent you. That's Small Sliders of Lafayette.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we got to go fast now.
The Houston Astros took the series victory with last night's 5-1 win over the New York Yankees. Hayden Wesneski and the rest of the Astros bullpen had a great night, holding the Yankees to only 5 hits and 2 walks. Next up for the Astros, they'll stay in the Big Apple and head a few streets over to take on the New York Mets tonight. First pitch is at 6:10 p.m., and you can listen to it right here on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. The New Orleans Saints will play their final preseason game of the year tonight in AT&T Stadium as they take on the Dallas Cowboys. Coach Kellamore already stated that the majority of the starters will not take any snaps tonight for the third straight game. Kickoff between the Saints and the Cowboys is at 7 p.m. in AT&T Stadium. The FBS side of college football gets their 2026 season underway this weekend with 8 Week 0 games going on Saturday. The marquee game will also be the first of the day between North Carolina and TCU in the Aer Lingus Classic in Dublin, Ireland. The Horned Frogs are a 9.5-point favorite over the Tar Heels, and kickoff is at 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Also on the gridiron in the FCS level, the McNeese Cowboys will begin their season and conference play this Saturday with the defending Southland champions, Stephen F. Austin. The Lumberjacks are a 13.5-point favorite over the Cowboys, and kickoff is Saturday at 6 p.m. from the VAR Stadium. And Louisiana Christian made history yesterday by beating Northwestern State 42-37. The win is only the 13th time ever that an NAIA program has defeated a D1 program. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
It's a great time to get out on the water, and Black's has you covered. Black's Outdoor Marine is Acadiana's Tohatsu Outboard and Low Boats headquarters. Tohatsu Outboards are reliable, affordable, and backed by a 5-year warranty. Black's has low-interest financing and can handle your outboard or mud motor repair. Stop by 1423 Northwest Evangeline Thruway in Lafayette or call 337-233-4272. That's 337-233-4272. Black's Outdoor Marine, serving Acadiana since 1968.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
When I started school sports, I didn't know who I wanted to be. I just wanted to play.
But looking back, I developed character, resilience, and integrity. And now I'm settled in a career. I'm a leader to my own kids and my community. I know who I am and where I belong, and it started with school sports. I found my place. Find yours.
This message presented by the LHSAA and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Can't get enough discussion about the college programs you know and love? Not to worry. Dawson has you covered coming up right here on the LohDown with D-Loh.
The LohDown rolls on, and our guest, Chaston Taveras, he really never took a full hiatus from the show during the offseason because he cares about us that much. We talked a lot of Boston Red Sox. We're going to continue to mention the Sox when they're relevant, but it's officially McNeese football season. Chasten's going to be part of the broadcast team once again on TV, so I know he's been busy prepping. What's going on, buddy? How's your Friday?
How's my Friday? I am swamped. I feel like I'm so far behind on prep work. But hey, that means football season is back, and that just means it's the first week of the year. To be completely honest with you.
No doubt. And this is, by the way, the last week zero. Next year, they just voted apparently to move the schedule around, so the FBS is going to kind of take over that. It is kind of nice to have a little unofficial like FCS weekend, which is what this kind of has been. There are some other big-time games sprinkled in. But last night, man, I was tracking that Louisiana Christian Northwestern State game. I cannot lie to you. I didn't have it on the TV, but I saw the score at one point was 35-30, and I thought, all right, we need to pay a little more attention to this thing. Louisiana Christian did it. They beat Northwestern State last night. That is an NAIA program beating a Southland Conference school. It's a great accomplishment for Louisiana Christian. It's a really bad, embarrassing result for Northwestern State. I mean, just what do you make about that surprising score to start the year?
Look, I'm going to be honest. So last year we did Louisiana Christian. McNeese obviously hosted Louisiana Christian, and look, I really like Ben McLaughlin a lot. I really have liked what he's been able to do down at Louisiana Christian. Look, a lot of people don't know. Obviously, they're like, oh, it's an NAIA team, but that has been one of the premier NAIA programs in the entire country. I mean, they've won their conference championship 3 of the last 4 years. Now, comparatively to Northwestern State, Northwestern State should handle them. But as Blaine McCorkle the Northwestern State coach made abundantly clear, and made it even clearer yesterday, Louisiana Christian actually played McNeese closer than Northwestern State played McNeese last year, and he obviously made that abundantly clear yesterday. And look, that is for Louisiana Christian. It's great. It's the first time an NAIA team has beat an NAIA team with scholarships has beaten a Division I program. Biggest win in their program's history. And look, it was. I watched specifically the second half. That game was chaos. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I think a lot of McNeese, if they root on McNeese, they probably enjoyed it. I enjoyed it not because I root on McNeese, but because I enjoy chaos in college football, and that's what we got, and that's exactly what it was. And look, you could tell from the jump that those kids from Louisiana Christian, they were all in, and they it's tough for the conference, but my God, that was something to watch.
Well, and you can understand it, right? It's the classic thing. It's why college sports upsets are so great. Like when an upset happens in the pros, yeah, I mean, that's cool. But in these situations, we know it, right? A lot of these kids were probably told they weren't good enough to play at a school like Northwestern State. Even if it isn't a great program right now, they're probably told, yeah, you don't have any chance to go in the FCS. You got to play NAIA. Same way when an FCS team beats an FBS or an App State beats a Michigan or whatever it is, it's that classic, like, you thought we weren't good enough, and we'll show you. There was another upset last night, though, that's actually more significant as far as the Southland's concerned, Chasten. Houston Christian went to Hammond and kind of put it on Southeastern. I know that score ended up close in the end, but it was 24-7 at one point. That is of significance as well.
That's Hammond America to you, by the way. Yeah, look, it kind of JRT kind of gets what he deserves after his comments about McNeese the other day in the local paper. Look, that was after they kind of looked like they looked like a Southeastern football team probably in the second half. I mean, look, I think it was 30-14 or 30-7 going into the fourth quarter, and they ended up making it a ball game. Houston Christian was kind of falling apart there for a little bit. Their clock management got really bad throughout like the beginning stages and middle part of the fourth quarter. And Southeastern, they made a valiant effort, but that's a big one. I mean, this has an opportunity after Saturday. If whatever shakes out with McNeese and Stephen F. Austin, if McNeese is able to somehow pull the upset on Stephen F. Austin, this conference is completely upside down. Look, Houston Christian's on top. McNeese would be on top. I mean, It is very fascinating. It's another reason why early conference games to me are just I'm just so not a fan of them because look, I mean, do we really think that Houston Christian's better than Southeastern? No, I don't. I do like Jason Bachtel a lot. The coach at Houston Christian. He's a super down to earth guy, a lot of fun to talk to, as is Frank Selfo. But it was certainly a surprise to me. I actually anticipated that Louisiana Christian Northwestern State game would be close. I don't know if I had them beating them. I did not anticipate this one to be close. I kind of anticipated it to be what Nichols and the Delta Devils were last night. But yeah, that one was certainly a shocker and certainly could play major implications in the Southland standings down the road.
Chaston Tavares is our guest. You will be part of the ESPN Plus call tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a whole new design booth. Jeff Palermo, who used to do games with me, he is off to. He did the broadcast at Nichols last night. He's doing some of the Nichols games, so it'll be me and Cody Stroud, former Southland Offensive Player of the Year, going to be on the broadcast. So yeah, we are full in. It's a new look on it this year, and we're excited, ready to get rocking and rolling.
Well, there you go. Excited to hear you. So let's talk about it, man. I mean, it's a Stephen F. Austin team that we talked about before. They're the conference champs from a year ago. They've got a nice little preseason ranking next to their name, but yet they've got all these new players, and so I guess that ranking is just more about pedigree of the program and what they did a year ago. But what have you been able to try to learn about a team that's going to field a ton of new faces on their roster?
It is a ton of new faces for Stephen F. Austin. Look, they've got 61 new players on the roster, 22 are high school kids, 39 transfers. It's a lot of new guys. Now, the good news is on the offensive side of things for Stephen F. Austin, there is some continuity. Jalen Jenkins has been in the program for 4 years. He was a starting running back at one point before he's kind of battled some injuries. He's got to stay healthy. The quarterback, Gavin Rutherford, he's actually played significant time over the last couple of years, not only in specific packages, but also he's had to start games. He played the conference championship game last year versus Lamar. The last 2 years, he's had to step in for Sam Vidlac, who's had some injuries. So they're A-okay. They have full confidence in him to kind of man this offense. He does have the ability, and when I was visiting on my conference call yesterday with Coach Carthel, he kind of pointed this out. These two quarterbacks are very similar, Jake Strong and Gavin Rutherford, both of them with a really big arm and can really hurt you with your legs. The other part of it is, Stephen F. Austin, they returned Bugs Mortimer, who garnered some big-time Power 4 interest. He's one of the best punt returners in the entire country. He came back to Stephen F. Austin because he wants to find a way to he wants to play at the next level, and he needs to become more of a wide receiver. So, he's back. That'll obviously be a big target for them. We'll see. I think they're fighting Kylan Harris to see if Kylan Harris can come back or not for a fifth year. So we'll see that one. He was an All-American. He led the Southland in receptions and touchdowns and all that last year. So they've got some continuity, some on the offensive side of the football with some of their skilled guys that had seen some action. But defensively, it's not that way. This is a team that's going to probably need to mature pretty quickly. And, I could hear that when I visited with Colby Carthel yesterday. They've got one returning defensive starter from a year ago. Now, we talked about those transfers. They've got guys like Eli Ennis, who was an All-American at Nichols, went to UAB and, didn't play much at UAB. But they've got guys that have played some football. I think the biggest question mark is going to be what does the defensive line look like and what does that secondary look like? Because they just don't have a lot of experience. They've got some guys that have played some college football back there, but just not a ton on the defensive side of the ball. So I think that could get very interesting, especially for a Stephen F. Austin team who's always known for playing some pretty good defense.
From the McNeese standpoint, you already mentioned Jake Strong, and of course a lot of this is going to go with him, but we also know they're going to have to be able to run the football consistently to set some of that stuff up, and when they're at their best, they are likely running it really effectively. What do you expect to see? And also in a game one, as we've talked about before, such a tough spot to be in. Southeastern learned that last night when you have a game that's going to count in the conference standings. But how do you think they're trying to approach this unique situation?
It is weird, and it's a little bit different than what Southeastern went through last night. I don't know if Houston Christian was garnered to be the number one preseason team in the conference and number 13 team overall. a little bit different for McNeese preparing for Stephen F. Austin. Now, it is tricky, I think, because there is so many unknowns with Stephen F. Austin. They've got the two new coordinators. You know, they've got a whole new look offense. They've got a new look defense. I think it's more of for McNeese. You know, they're going to be watching some film from, you know, past stops with all the defensive coordinator and kind of what some of these guys did last year. But look, McNeese is going to have to run the football. I think that's what this football team should be able to do, is run the football. The offensive line, we talked about it last week, a lot of depth. I think they really like the depth on the offensive line. I think at times they're going to be able to go 10 deep. They're going to have two groups if they want to. I think they'll probably play between 8 and 10 offensive linemen, which is not a luxury they've had over the last couple of years. You know, I think Tyler Bolfing mentioned this to me a couple of weeks ago, where, you know, there was times where in practice he kind of held his breath because he knew if he lost an offensive, it could completely derail what to do. Running back wise, I mean, look, they should be pretty stout. I mean, Omari Wiggins comes in from Louisiana Tech. There was some weird stuff that happened with him and the offensive coordinator. I mean, look, he was one of the best freshmen in the country a couple of years ago there at Louisiana Tech, and didn't get as much playing time last year. There was some weird stuff with the offensive coordinator, and he's able. Look, McNeese gets him. They really like Omari Wiggins. Hutch Willie, as a lot of the Cajun fans know. I think he's going to be a complimentary back that they go to in the third quarter and stuff like that. And then, of course, Trevante Citizen. I mean, Trevante Citizen is Trevante Citizen. I mean, he was a 5-star out of high school. He's kind of just waiting to put everything together. And he was one of the leading in the entire South last year. The thing is he's been able to go through a full offseason and a full fall and a full spring healthy. And he hasn't done that in his entire career. You could also say the same thing for receiver. You know, Curtis DeVille, again, went to Purdue. He's a local kid out of Iowa, and he hasn't been healthy his entire career, and he has been healthy this year, and he's looked a whole lot better. Receiver-wise, I mean, they've got some guys. I mean, whether it's Smiley Edwards, the new guy, Solo Lewis, who's a local kid out of LCCP that went to Nichols and Louisiana Tech, Senegal's back. I mean, they've got guys in that wide receiver room that's going to get very fast. I think offensively, I think they've got the pieces around Jake Strong. I think he has to be more of a game manager and just run the football. And we've obviously seen what Jake Strong could do with his legs. They obviously didn't show that a much in fall camp because they obviously know that he can run the football a little bit. But I think that's going to be where this team's bread is buttered, is running the football and playing defense.
It should be a whole lot of fun. McNeese gets it going tomorrow night. As we mentioned, they will open the season against Stephen F. Austin. You can watch and listen to our friend Chasten Tavares, part of that broadcast call, if you wish. BP and Raymond will be over there, Chasten, so be nice to him if you see him, by the way. But I got to ask you at least one about the Boston Red Sox, man. I thought of some scenarios, and I went over this earlier in the show, where with the Astros and White Sox, like if the White Sox struggle down the stretch here, and we'll see, Cleveland's also got a say in that division, your Boston Red Sox could potentially be going on the road to a division winner that's got a much worse record than them. Have you considered that scenario?
No, because I don't think we fall to the third wild card.
Okay, that's true.
I guess, yeah, I don't know if we fall to the third wild card. Look, the division's not out of reach right now. I mean, they're 5 games back of the division. They're 2 games back of the Yankees. This is the biggest series of the year for the Red Sox. I mean, it's Red Sox-Yankees, 4 games in the Bronx. I mean, what more could you ask for? And, of course, the Red Sox, 1, didn't line up the pitching for it, and 2, for some reason, Roman Anthony in AAA, by the way, is 6 for 12. He's hit 5 of the 6 balls he's hit in AAA have been over 107 miles an hour off the bat, and for some reason they're not calling him up for today. Why I don't know. I even pulled him off my the IL on my fantasy baseball team just because I was hoping that they would pull him up today. No, they just said, nah, we don't need him. We don't need him. He can play the Yankees latest. We don't need to overtake them in the wild card standings.
It's a classic, man. 4-game set with a day-night doubleheader on Saturday. What is this, 2002? I like it though. I like the vibes. So we'll see.
I don't.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna have to try and put it on while I'm calling a college football game.
Okay, but you can watch the first one.
I guess.
Yeah, while you're doing your prep. I believe in you. Multitasking, it's a thing. All right, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy the call, and we'll talk again next week.
Yeah, appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Enjoy some football.
There's Chasten Tavares, good as always. We'll take a timeout here. We've got a segment left in the hour, of course, so we will give you a look. By the way, there's a former LSU Tiger that is making a bit of a charge at the Tour Championship. I'll tell you who that is and how close they are to the front of the leaderboard. And we'll also introduce you to the Foodie Poll Question of the Week. That's after the break.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The ESPN Southwest Louisiana YouTube channel is the best new way to stay locked into our station. Visit the channel today, subscribe, and get notified whenever our shows are going live or we upload new content. The best part is it's completely free to watch and subscribe. Just head to YouTube and search ESPN_SWLA. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you don't miss anything from Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Delta Media is your home for Friday Night Football. STM on ESPN 1037, North Vermilion on 1063 Lafayette, Catholic High of New Iberia on Mustang 1071 FM, St. Landry Parish Game of the Week on Z1059, LRCA on News Talk 98.5 FM, and Barb on ESPN 1041. Listen to the games on the radio or on each station's free mobile app. Delta Media has you covered for thrilling Friday Night Football.
Around Acadiana, community means supporting the businesses that make our hometown special. That's why we're proud to spotlight local companies that are certified South Louisiana.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
Are you looking for an eye expert? Well, visit Acadiana Optics in Broussard, locally owned, founded, and operated by Broussard native Dr. Lindsay Dugas. From comprehensive eye exams for glasses and contacts to diabetic exams, pediatric eye care, emergency eye care, cataract and LASIK evaluations, Acadiana Optics provides family eye care for all vision needs. Enjoy state-of-the-art technology, designer frame selections, prescription Maui Jim sunglasses, and custom glasses and contacts. Acadiana Optics in Broussard. Call today to schedule your appointment.
Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive offers, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. Sign up with DraftKings today with code 1037GAME and get ready to celebrate the biggest day of the season. Mark the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with code 1037GAME. Spend $5 to get $200 in bonus bets within 21 days. That's code 1037GAME. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus. Physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. $50 in non-withdrawable bonus bets issued every 7 days via click to claim for 21 days. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Back to the sports talk you not only want, but need. This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Back here on the LohDown. So I told you an LSU Tiger was charging up the leaderboard. It's none other than Sam Burns. To be honest, if you follow the PGA Tour and I say a former LSU Tiger, I mean, it's generally always going to be Sam Burns. But, hey, if you didn't know, now you do. Sam is 7 under for the tournament. He is 1 shot off the lead right now. Cam Young and Minwoo Lee are tied at 8 under. Cam fired a 62. How about that? Cam shot 70 yesterday, but he shot 62 this morning to get into a tie with Minwoo, who shot 62 yesterday and is only on his 4th hole of the day. Sam, 3 under on his front 9 today after shooting a 4 under 66 yesterday, so he's still got 8 holes left to go, but he's just 1 shot off the lead. He's tied with Jacob Bridgman, Akshay Bhatia, and Chris Gotterup, who are all 7 under par. Lurking in the weeds is Scotty Scheffler. He was 5 under going into the day Actually got all the way down to 3 under with a couple bogeys early, but he's made a birdie at 6, so he's now 4 under in a tie for 17th. Rory McIlroy is in a tie for 25th at 2 under. Everyone in the field is either at or below par. 29 golfers. There were 30. J.J. Spawn had to withdraw due to injury. Christopher Wrighton is currently the only player even par or worse. He is even par. Everyone else is in red numbers. So, as you could expect, it's, in theory, the 30 best golfers on the PGA Tour, and they are playing like they're the 30 best golfers on the PGA Tour. A lot of fun names, too, that are in striking distance. Morikawa, Adam Scott are both 6 under. Justin Rose is 5 under. Matt Fitzpatrick, Gary Woodland, all having good days. So we'll see how that tournament continues to shape up over at East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia. We have a foodie poll question of the day, as we always do on Fridays. Thinking about road trip snacks. RP3 and BP, they're going to have a little mini road trip tomorrow over to Lake Charles, so they might get to exercise this. What is your go-to? Beef jerky, I didn't expect a runaway in the Twitter poll. 68% going with beef jerky, 14% say chips, 9% say candy, and 9% say other. I got a little bit of a curveball to throw at you here. My typical road trip snack, and this is not a sponsored segment, although if they're interested, I'd love to have them on board. Racetrack is my go-to gas station. Everybody's kind of got their ones they go to. If you got a Racetrack, I've got the app. I get the discounts, all that stuff. It's all perfect for me. And so I like the little roller grill things they've got. They've got like a chicken taquito thing. I said taquito in a weird accent. Taquito is maybe the better way to say that. They've got one that's just like mozzarella chicken and cheese. Of course, they got the hot dogs if you're interested. Do I ever have a little doubt before pulling something off of a rolling, heated type mechanism that's, in theory, cooking this food and keeping it warm? Sometimes I hesitate, but I haven't been steered wrong yet. So I go with the roller grill thing. I don't know what to call that other than a roller grill, because I think that's what it's called on the app when I order it. So that's what I usually go with. I am a beef jerky fan. Beef jerky, just the cost of beef jerky in this country is outrageous. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're talking about $16 for a jumbo bag. Then if you get the small bag, it's got like 5 pieces in it, and then I'm still hungry. So I had a buddy of mine who actually started making beef jerky at one point. Was dehydrating, had a meat dehydrator. And he told me quickly after doing it twice that it was way more work than it was worth. And then he never did it again. So there was a very small stretch where I had like legit fresh beef jerky that my buddy had made me. But that has died off, and I probably haven't had it in a very long time. Been a while. Chips, I mean, that's a safe one. I probably grab chips more than I grab beef jerky in a gas station. Candy, I wouldn't go candy, but I would grab a Pop-Tart from time to time. I don't really buy Pop-Tarts and eat them anymore. More of just like a health thing, trying to get the breakfast, going in the right direction, the health goals. But if I am going to eat a Pop-Tart, it's probably stopping off in a gas station. You're on a long drive. You just need something that's going to hit the sweet tooth. I think that's when I roll with a Pop-Tart. Or a Toast-'em Pop-Up, if you're going with the off-brands. Used to buy those when I was a kid as well. All right, so we've got a lot left to talk about here in the second hour. We've got 2 renditions of Preview 32. We are going to start off at the top of the hour. And by the way, some of these teams, as I said before, just have interesting sets of circumstances. We'll start off with the Titans with our friend Tyler Rowland, host of the Locked On Titans podcast, Tic Tac Titans film breakdowns as well, the Sleeper Titans podcast. Big connection there in the Titans community. And, of course, he's been on RP3 Mesh's show plenty of times. He'll join us after the timeout. We'll talk Cam Ward and that Tennessee squad. Then it's Louis DiBiase, Locked On Birds. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. We had him on a ton in the playoffs a couple years back. Remember, he was a guest for us live and in person at the Super Bowl in New Orleans, so he's become a good friend of the show. And he's also a co-host of the Locked On NFL podcast as well. So excited to have Louis back on board. He will join us at the bottom of hour number 2, 2:30. We'll have some time to fill in some gaps in between then. So keep hanging out with us inside the Beal and Hebert studios here in Upper Lafayette. This is the Lowdown. It is Friday, almost to the weekend. One more hour to get there, at least for me. Stay with us.
Where do you go when you're looking for action? Where do you go when you're looking for fun? New friends you're gonna meet, more fun than Bourbon Street. The Big Easy, where winning is easy. Life's too short, so jump on in. Have all the fun you can. The Big Easy, where winning is easy.
Hand of the Day is the new way to win at the Big Easy Casino. Each Hand of the Day equals one entry into the Big Easy bonus cash drawings. Bonus cash drawings take place on the last day of each month. It's never been so easy to win. Just watch as you play and notify your hostess when you get the Hand of the Day. The Big Easy, where the winning is easy. Gambling problem? Call toll-free 1-877-770-STOP.
Life's too short, so jump on in. Have all the fun you can. The Big Easy, where winning is easy. Big Easy Casino across from Montreal.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Whether it's a tempting text message or a quick glance at your GPS, taking your eyes off the road for just a moment can have serious consequences. This includes turning around or reaching down. Distracted driving includes eating or putting on makeup. Distracted driving is anything that diverts your attention from driving. I'm Lorraine Luquette Vinoy with Service Chevrolet Cadillac, encouraging you to drive smart, drive safe, and keep those eyes on the road, Acadiana. This message is powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac and this radio station, where safety meets style on the road.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
Sports Center. I'm John Ryder. There are 10 more NFL preseason games tonight. As for last night, the 49ers with an 18-12 victory over the Raiders in Las Vegas. Number 1 overall pick Fernando Mendoza went 7 of 14 passing. With no touchdowns and 1 pick, was also sacked twice. He started. Kirk Cousins backed him up and was an efficient 8 of 11 for 51 yards. Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak on his team heading into the season.
I love our guys. I love how hard they work. I love how mature they are. I love how important the game is to them, how important playing for the silver and black is to them. And, can't wait to go on this journey with them for the next 17 weeks in a row.
The Raiders open the season on Sunday, September 13th, hosting the Dolphins. Clint Kubiak still hasn't announced his starting quarterback for Week 1. Among the 10 games on tonight's slate, the Saints take on the Cowboys in Arlington, and the Giants go up against the Jets. Packers running back Josh Jacobs has been charged with misdemeanor battery and misdemeanor criminal damage to property, according to Wisconsin court records. Baseball, Cubs lead the Reds 1-0 in the second inning at Wrigley.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Monday, the NFL season hasn't even started, but it's never too early to check in on every fan base's anxiety level. It's on SportsFan, like 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the LohDown, hour number 2 of 2 here on a Friday. ESPN 1037 in Lafayette, 1041 in Lake Charles, the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app powered by Moss Motors, and of course streaming live on YouTube, ESPN_SWLA. Excited to have you along. Thank you for joining us as your Friday starts to wind down here on the back 9 already of the day, just after 2 o'clock here Central Time. And we got a lot of NFL for you here in the second hour. Our Preview 32 series about to roll on. We'll talk about the Philadelphia Eagles in a half hour, but the Tennessee Titans are up first. Let's get back into it. Another edition of Preview 32.
The NFL season is closer than you think. And D-Loh wants to make sure you're prepared once it's here.
I like this kind of party.
It's time for Preview 32 on the LohDown.
And today we are headed to Nashville, the Tennessee Titans, in the process of building that brand new beautiful stadium as well. And it's going to be a pretty nice place to play football games. Tyler Rowland, Tic Tac Titans on social media. You can find him there. Host of the Locked On Titans podcast, does all kinds of great content. He's been a frequent guest on RP3 and Mesh. Tyler, thank you for joining us, man. How's your Friday?
Oh, it's going great, man. Football is in the air. Got a high school game tonight, college this weekend, the NFL right around the corner. This is my season, man. I cannot wait.
I am with you on that. And, man, I'll start a little light, the uniform refresh. I did love the old logo, but I got to say, with the uniforms they put together, what'd you make of the whole rebrand the Titans are going through?
Well, I think the color combination from the old school Houston Oilers has always been one of the best color combinations in all of sports, not just football, the NFL. So getting more of that on the plate is always going to be a big win, in my opinion. But I think the redesign of the logo, the stripe being the 6 guitar strings is just a perfect way to add in that Nashville flair. It's absolutely excellent. The logo pops on merchandise and everything way better now. Has less of a cartoonish look, in my opinion, without the flames coming off of the back of it. I like a simple, symmetrical logo. Maybe it's just the millennial in me. I can't help it. I love simple-looking logos and designs. We can't help ourselves, but I like it. I think clearly with seeing them on the field, it's been a big win as well, and the new alternate jerseys are great, so I think it's a big win for the franchise.
I mean, talk about just big picture with this team. As I mentioned, like, I know the new stadium's exciting. You know, I was in Nashville. I mean, man, I guess it was a couple years ago at this point, and they already had kind of the site where it was going to be, and, you know, I kind of got a lay of the land of, like, what it was going to look like and all that stuff. But what has the excitement level been? And you know, I know they've got big plans as far as Super Bowls and things eventually, and Nashville's, you know, growing and growing and growing. What is the vibe around this franchise as a whole right now?
I would say the big theme of the Tennessee Titans as a franchise right now is under construction. You know, the stadium is being built up right now. It's not usable right now, but you could see the remnants of how, hey, when this thing is done being built, it could be pretty good. And you see that with the Titans as a football team, I would say, with the new coaching staff, the new players that they've added, but they have some younger guys who feel like they're foundational pieces as we get into the roster, but it's not quite there yet. And we can all see just driving by on the highway like, oh, that looks pretty nice, but it's certainly not done quite yet. And I don't think the Titans are quite done yet, but you want to see them continue to build towards the finish line of a good football team and a great stadium at the end of this, which hopefully they stumble upon both next season when the stadium opens, and I think the team could be a true playoff contender by next season. But this season is gonna tell us a lot about whether the team can match the stadium progress.
Right, and of course, a lot of that stops and starts with the quarterbacks. Cam Ward comes in last year, rookie season, certainly had some ups and some downs, as most rookies do. You know, what did you walk away from the season feeling like he really needed to improve on? What did he do well, and what are you excited about in year 2 for him? You know, the coaches have made this kind of analogy, but I think Cam Ward proved that he can have Superman plays, but he's got to be a better Clark Kent. You know, he's got to be more consistent with his ball handling. He doesn't throw a ton of interceptions, but he mishandles the football quite a bit, which causes fumbles. That was a big problem for him in college. He does have smaller hands. I guess maybe that is a factor into it. It's hard to tell, but he just makes strange decisions handling the football sometimes, and it's not really the interceptions that cause turnovers for him. He's got to stop doing that while he hunts for bigger plays and wants to fade back in the pocket to find those big highlight plays that you see when you see highlights of him. So it's good that he can do that, but he's got to tone down on some of that stuff, and then he can be a little inconsistent with his ball placement on short routine, what I call layup throws. And it's great that you can roll out and fall back 20 yards and throw a bomb 60 across the field for a touchdown. But if you can't consistently make the simple layup throws that keep an NFL offense on schedule, you're not going to have much success long-term that way. So he showed flashes of really, really great potential and star plays, but he's got to clean up some of the simple stuff if he wants to be a long-term answer in the NFL. What do you make of the roster moves as a whole? Did this roster get significantly better in your eyes this offseason?
Oh, I certainly think it did. I think the talent level of the roster has gone up, but it was such a low bar prior to that doesn't mean that the Titans had playoff level talent. It was just so barren of talent after years and years and years of busted drafts from top to bottom. So I think this year they have settled a little bit on the offensive line with the emergence of rookie fifth-round pick Fernando Carmona taking the right guard spot. You've added a ton of talent on the outside with Carnell Tate and Wandale Robinson and some of the younger players who have stepped up, like Alec Manor in training camp. So they have enough weapons around Cam Ward, and the offensive line should be solid enough that I think you've given Cam Ward a chance to succeed. And on defense, Robert Saleh has had great defenses anytime he's been in control of a defense, basically his entire career as a defensive play caller. They give up yards, but they don't give up a lot of points, and they always seem to be a solid unit. When you have the best interior defensive lineman in the league in Jeffrey Simmons, and you've added John Franklin Myers, who was third amongst interior defensive linemen in sack, and Jermaine Johnson, a veteran, on the outside at edge, and they spent $35 million on 2 starting cornerbacks. I think the Titans, combined with Robert Saleh's mind on defense, can have a pretty solid unit over there.
You know, one thing that's certainly been interesting about this Titans team, I've looked at that running back position. Tyjae Spears, a guy I got to watch throughout his college career. He was special. There was, some rumors going into the draft process about maybe some, long-term concerns with his knee, and he hasn't really stayed healthy yet. What about that running back room and the hope that Tyjae can maybe finally put it together and have a healthy season in addition to some of the other talent they have in that spot?
It's not a sexy running back room, I would say, but it's a workman's running back room. Like, everybody in the room can contribute, do a little bit of everything. Tony Pollard is certainly the lead back. He's a little bit bigger than Tyjae Spears, so that gives him a little more ability to run those power runs consistently. I wouldn't say Tony Pollard's great at that, but he's just bigger than Spears and better than doing it at him. But having Tyjae as that jitterbug who kind of can bounce through the defense, make these explosive plays, but neither of them, again, are true power backs, and that opens up a spot for the rookie out of Penn State, Nick Singleton, who has good speed but is bigger built than both of those guys. But we're seeing Brian Daboll use both the top 2 running backs, Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard, much more in the passing game early on than we've seen them do in years past, and he's just a better offensive mind than what we've had in years past in Nashville. So I think Brian Daboll is going to use those running backs together, and he's always been a big committee guy when it comes to running backs. I think he's going to use those guys together and in the passing game, those top 2 specifically early on, and they're going to be able to create some explosive plays. Just Thursday against the Bears in joint practices, Tony Pollard caught a 40-yard wheel route over top of somebody. He was a wide receiver at Memphis for a good majority of his time. People forget that. I think the Titans running back room is going to have a big year for them.
The 2 questions we're asking everybody on the series this year, Tyler. The first one, who's the most important player on this roster?
Well, that's Cam Ward. That's pretty obvious. At this point, if he's not the answer, if he were to have a down year, like a clearly down year, and they were to win, 3-4 games or an ugly 5 games, I think there's a pretty 5 games in there for the Titans. But if it's an ugly 5 games for Cam Ward, that would be such a blow to what the Titans are building and what their plan is right now, to not have the answer at quarterback and to have wasted the number 1 pick in the draft. So Cam Ward is clearly the most important, but I would tell you the second most important is certainly Jeffrey Simmons. He needs to be dominant. The Titans' defensive line is going to be what makes them into a better team than they've been in the last couple of years. It's a Robert Saleh football team. The best player in the NFL in the interior is on the team. That has to be the heartbeat of everything they do. So it's Cam Ward, obviously, but Jeffrey Simmons is the other answer.
This one's maybe a little more fun for you. It's under the radar. Who's somebody who's not getting a ton of national attention, but you think has a chance to make a big impact?
Okay, so the Titans have a safety named Kevin Winston Jr., and he went to Penn State, and 2 games into his final season at Penn State, which he was in the draft last year, not this past draft, but the year before, 2025 draft. His last year at Penn State, which I guess is 2024, 2 games in, tears his ACL. Before that, people were talking about him as he's probably going to be a first-round pick in this year's draft. He's 6'3", he's got real long arms, 4.4 speed, really ferocious, never misses a tackle, because he's got such long arms and he's willing to be physical, even though he's long and fast and all that. And he was going to be a first-round pick. Nick Saban actually said that during the pre-draft process during that year. He got banged up coming back from the ACL tear that he had 2 games in when he was in training camp. Never really got his footing, got hurt again at the end. But he's been solid in training camp this year, and he's in the back end for Robert Saleh, playing center field some, and he's just hitting the Titans wide receivers, and people are kind of mad about it, but he's making all these plays, and he's getting interceptions. He had what should have been an interception in the last preseason game because he's so long and his arms, he has so much range and everything. Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State, little known because of his injury at the end of college, but he could be a star in this defense who everybody looks at the end of the year, and he does know his name.
It's a perfect answer. I like it. All right, we'll close it with this, Tyler. You already alluded to it. It's a little unique with where Tennessee is and kind of the building process. So, maybe it's tough because sometimes it depends how those games look, maybe how the quarterback does. But how would you define a successful season for the Titans, given that maybe, as you mentioned, they're not ready to contend in the AFC?
Oh, 6 wins. 6 wins. People like to get all calculated with these answers, it's more nuanced than just win. Not for the Titans. It's 6 wins. You got to double your win total from last year. If you win less than 6 games, as I said, maybe there's a pretty 5 in there that could make people feel good, but I doubt it. If they win less than 6 games this year, people are going to feel very, very disappointed. And it's not just because, they won this many games. What kind of football would it look like for the Titans to win only 5 games this year? It wouldn't be the level of football that would leave anybody feeling satisfied. So they got to win 6 games at minimum. I think only some people would be happy with that, but there would be at least some. 6 games is what I'm looking at right now for that team. And if they get higher than that, 7, 8, 9, that's a major win for, hey, we're taking a step forward, we're making big progress. And then again, next season is the season where it's okay, we can make the playoffs this year, and that's how it'll feel, and that's how it should feel, and that's how good teams grow.
It is good stuff, Tyler. Appreciate your time as always. We have made it almost back to football. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch up again down the road.
Absolutely, right around the corner.
It's Tyler Rowland, Locked on NFL, Locked on Titans. Tremendous stuff there on Tennessee. Interesting season ahead for them as well. I like the line he said about Cam Ward about Superman. The Superman stuff's great, but he's got to be better when he's Clark Kent, right? Those down-to-down plays have got to improve, and we'll see if he can do that in 2026. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll reset some things for you. We'll take a look over at that leaderboard. There's a solo leader, by the way, so there's been some change up there at Eastlake, and we will talk about it next here on the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The Gate on Duck Festival is back today through Sunday. The festival highlights the hunting heritage of the Acadiana region, offers great entertainment with its duck and goose calling contests, skeet shooting, dog trials, duck dash, and decoy carving. That's always going to make me think of the movie Dodgeball. Shut up, Peter LaFleur. In addition to great food and drinks, there'll be a variety of musical acts performing, including Wayne Toops and Zydecajon, Gino Delafosse and French Rock and Boogie, and Tracy Bird. Make sure to head down to the duck capital of America for the Gate on Duck Festival. For more information, visit www.duckfestival.org today.
Make sure to set your alarm and tune in Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock for Sports Shorts here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Join me, Ronnie Rance, and the Sports Shorts team of Tommy Christsan, Hunter McCann, and the crazy man, Joel Davis, as we break down the sports and teams that you love. The LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, and everything in between. Tune in Saturday mornings from 10 to noon for Sports Shorts here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The heart of Acadiana is its local businesses, the people, families, and companies that help our communities thrive. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Candyland Cottage is the place to satisfy all your cravings. Find delicious ice creams, fresh fudges, truffles, hot dogs, sausage po' boys, Frito pies, and homemade shakes. Visit us in Scott and Rain for a sweet treat. Plan your next birthday party or field trip at Candyland Cottage.
Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
Beer lovers, this is your day. Gulf Brew is back in downtown Lafayette, Saturday, September 19th from 3 until 7 p.m. Taste more than 200 craft beers from breweries across the region. Catch live music, enjoy local food, shop vendors, and soak up one incredible downtown party. It's the perfect tailgate spot before you head to the game. Whether you're sipping brews or enjoying the designated driver experience with specialty mocktails, there's something for everyone. Get your tickets now at downtownlafayette.org.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
The biggest headlines in the world of sports are discussed here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
So it's now not a solo leader anymore, but Scotty Scheffler's made 3 birdies in his last 4 holes, so watch out. But Cam Young, Akshay Bhatia now tied atop the Tour Championship leaderboard, both 8 under par. By the way, we did get I don't know if ruling's the right word. We got news that the hearing for the eligibility lawsuit in Baton Rouge has been moved to Thursday, September 3rd. The judge will consider both a preliminary injunction plus a, quote, motion for contempt in reference to SEC's newly instituted penalties. That is courtesy of John Blau, who is covering LSU football for The Advocate. So that's Thursday, right? If my math's correct, James, here, correct me if I'm wrong. They play on Saturday, the 5th. So Thursday, the 3rd. So LSU's going to have, at best, 2 days of notice of whether or not, like, these 4 players, potentially, that they're bringing in are going to be eligible. That's the math, right? Oh, we had mic trouble. It's okay. I think it was a rhetorical question. Yeah. So 2 days. So that's why I guess I get it big picture. Maybe they don't have a huge impact in the first game, but you think you can get them back. We talked about how important the first month is for LSU, and they got to get off to a quick start. But I just don't see, other than maybe you figure, hey, Jack Pyburn's a pass rusher, and you could just throw him out there for a handful of snaps and just tell him to go after the quarterback. Maybe he's only playing on 3rd and medium, right? Where you go, hey, forget the scheme, forget run fits, just go attack the quarterback on 3rd downs. I guess you could do that with him, even on 2 days' notice. I don't know if these guys are going to be able to practice next week, though. We don't have the answer to that either. It's just such a unique situation, and I guess we will find out. We'll find out in the near future. In addition to that, so we do have some college games this weekend. I wasn't going to do like a full-blown slate preview because there's not a ton of them. But we've already talked a good bit about McNeese and Stephen F. Austin, of course. On the FBS side of things, here's kind of the ones that I think are worth tuning in for. For me, I'll keep an eye on Florida State, New Mexico State. If the Noles lose that one, then Mike Norvell's probably going to have to start getting on Zillow. North Carolina plays TCU in the Aer Lingus Classic over in Ireland. TCU's 9.5-point favorites. I'm actually surprised it's not more than that. I don't know if the Horned Frogs are going to be great. I just can't imagine North Carolina and the mess that is Bill Belichick and company. I just can't imagine that team being super competitive. But that game has some interest to it, right? San Jose State plays USC. Their massive favorites are the Trojans, but that is a game, if you're a Cajuns fan, Cajuns play USC in week 2, so that one is of note. NC State and Virginia is probably the most competitive game on the docket. ACC conference clash. Why are we playing conference games in August? I don't know, but we're still doing it apparently. So that one should be fun. Virginia, remember, was Virginia was a ACC championship game win away from the college football playoff last year. And then they lost to Duke, and that opened the door for James Madison, and then rule changes and things of that nature. How about this one? This is maybe my favorite matchup of the week. North Dakota State plays Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State, FBS member for like 3 or 4 years, but they have gotten better and better. They had Rich Rodriguez running the show last year. I mean, they were really, really good, won a lot of games. They're back. North Dakota State's the team that everyone for so long was like, why don't they move up? They dominate. They win the FCS National Championship every year. They beat FBS teams. They beat Iowa recently. They finally said, all right, we'll do it. We'll pick on somebody our own size. So they're now up in the Mountain West. Their inaugural game as an FBS team is against Jacksonville State. It's in the Fargo Dome where dreams go to die up there in North Dakota. Haven't been to the Fargo Dome, but I would love to make a trip at one point. So NDSU and Jacksonville State, I think is going to be fun. The Bison, by the way, it's not plural. It is plural, but it's plural by itself. No S necessary. The Bison are 7-point favorites over Jacksonville State. And then about a little UNLV Memphis to close out your night. A little 9 o'clock. I almost said first pitch and tip-off there. Kickoff would be what football has, and we are about to be in full-blown football mode, so we need to know that. UNLV has been a really good team. Remember, there's a playoff spot still reserved for a non-power conference team. And UNLV last year had made some noise. Dan Mullen brought in as the head coach. So Mullen and company back again. Memphis, that's the Fighting Charles Huffs. Charles Huff is now on his 3rd school in 3 years, and it's the Memphis Tigers this time around. So UNLV and Memphis is a late-night kickoff at 9 o'clock. A nice little cherry on top of our overall appetizer week 0 weekend to get the season started. Then after that, we've got a whole full slate on the following Thursday, but we'll get there when we get there. Let's start off with the week 0 games that we have tomorrow. The Saints play tonight. It doesn't feel like it. It's weird, the Friday preseason game. I guess it's happened before, but it doesn't feel like we've had a ton of those. I feel like the Saints have finished up on a Thursday more often than not in recent years. But anyway, they will play tonight. It is in Dallas. They face the Cowboys. It's less exciting because Shuck's not playing, and the first teamers are mostly not playing. I got mixed opinions on it. If you don't think Shuck needs it because of the joint practices and you're Kellen Moore, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know more. I would have liked to seen the starting offense just to kind of give yourself a little bit of a boost morale-wise. Hey, let's have one final dress rehearsal. Just make it one drive and try and put things in motion. But I'm not going to cry over it if the Saints don't play their starters tonight. And I shouldn't say if. Like, we've been told they're not going to play the majority of their starters. So we're not going to see Travis Etienne. We're not going to see probably Chris Olave or Tyler Shuck and a lot of those guys on the defense as well. What can we learn tonight about the Saints? I said let's see some kickers make some kicks, and then they went 0 for 1 and didn't attempt one to the last drive. So maybe I won't say that this time, but that would be nice to see. Certainly feels like it's Daniel Carlson in the favorite position there of the kickers, but he hasn't been around that long, so I don't know how they're feeling in that spot, so I will be looking at that. Can some of this defensive line, I know a lot of these guys that we're going to see tomorrow are not going to be around or they're not going to have significant roles, but I wouldn't mind seeing a pass rush. Like, that'd be fun. And then is there one big playmaker that's going to jump out and show us something? One splash play, whether it be a Barion Brown, who's had a nice camp so far and is, certainly feels like he's going to make the team, if not have a significant role early on. Is it one of the running backs? They've, brought in some new blood at that position. They made the trade. Like, can somebody show us something from a skill position point of view that makes us think, all right, that would be maybe nice to see? And, ideally, it's probably not early on, because early on, you're healthy. You're going to be healthy with your better players, hopefully. Get well soon, Alvin Kamara, Jordan Tyson. But if that's the case, I wouldn't mind seeing somebody make a nice little splashy play. Zach Wilson and Spencer Rattler. The good news is I'm confident that they are not going to play any worse than they played against the Rams. I'm confident in that. That is also not saying much. So Be great to see one of them look really confident. I have no idea who they're picking as the backup. I would still think Rattler's the slight favorite because, as I said before, the one nice performance from Wilson in the second preseason game, or in the first preseason game, I should say, the one nice performance from him was not enough to erase the inconsistency that he's had in practice. So I would still think Rattler's the favorite there, but hopefully the quarterbacks look competent. That'd be solid as well. So the Saints do play tonight. James will have a recap up for you. Whatever he can gather out of a preseason game, we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. We'll take a time out here when we return. Our last guest of the day, last guest of the week, Preview 32 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Louis DiBiase joins us after this.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros took the series victory with last night's 5-1 win over the New York Yankees. Hayden Wesneski and the rest of the Astros bullpen had a great night, holding the Yankees to only 5 hits and 2 walks. Next up for the Astros, they'll stay in the Big Apple and head a few streets over to take on the New York Mets tonight. First pitch is at 6:10 p.m., and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. The New Orleans Saints will play their final preseason game of the year tonight in AT&T Stadium as they take on the Dallas Cowboys. Coach Kellamore already stated that the majority of the starters will not take any snaps tonight for the third straight game. Kickoff between the Saints and the Cowboys is at 7 p.m. in AT&T Stadium. The FBS side of college football gets their 2026 season underway this weekend with 8 Week 0 games going on Saturday. The marquee game will also be the first of the day between North Carolina and TCU in the Aer Lingus Classic in Dublin, Ireland. The Horned Frogs are a 9.5-point favorite over the Tar Heels, and kickoff is at 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Also on the gridiron in the FCS level, the McNeese Cowboys will begin their season and conference play this Saturday with the defending Southland champions, Stephen F. Austin. The Lumberjacks are a 13.5-point favorite over the Cowboys, and kickoff is Saturday at 6 p.m. from the VAR Stadium. And Louisiana Christian made history yesterday by beating Northwestern State 42-37. The win is only the 13th time ever that an NAIA program has defeated a D1 program. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Where do you go when you're looking for action? Where do you go when you're looking for fun? New friends you're gonna meet, more fun than Bourbon Street. The Big Easy, where winning is easy. Life's too short, so jump on in, have all the fun you can. The Big Easy, where winning is easy.
Hand of the Day is the new way to win at the Big Easy Casino. Each Hand of the Day equals 1 entry into the Big Easy Bonus Cash Drawings. Bonus Cash Drawings take place on the last day of each month. It's never been so easy to win. Just watch as you play and notify your hostess when you get the Hand of the Day. The Big Easy, where the winning is easy. Gambling problem? Call toll-free 1-877-770-STOP.
Life's too short, so jump on in, have all the fun you can. The Big Easy, where winning is easy. Big Easy Casino across from Montreal.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Plan on flying? It's time to upgrade to a real ID. Because in order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a real ID, or you'll need another acceptable form of identification. So don't wait. Find out how to get your real ID at tsa.gov/real ID. That's tsa.gov/real ID, or visit your local DMV. And then you'll be cleared for takeoff.
Helping you get through your workday. This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, we are back here on the LohDown. Our guy, Louis DiBiase, is caught up a little bit, so we're going to actually do a short segment here. We're going to come back with him to close the show. So we will close. We'll do our Philadelphia Eagles Preview 32 segment at the end of the hour as opposed to right now. So that means we do have some time here to get to some other things. I will say, so I haven't talked about the Cajuns football situation since earlier in the week. It's kind of been a quiet week on that front. I did get a chance to go down to media availability on Wednesday. But, you know, one of the things that I do wonder if we're going to learn is like kind of some of these players that are stepping into bigger roles. Jake St. Andre is one of them. He's the guy I got to talk to the other day. It's just sometimes it's hard for me to project out like improvement. And I think a lot of times we assume everybody's going to get better. And I've talked about that before. It's not necessarily a given. Jake St. Andre is a player who's a former walk-on. And he did talk to me about that. He's like, look, you know, you go from like just trying to be on the team in the first place, and then you get your feet under you, and then all of a sudden you're trying to just compete for some special teams roles. And then you get that, and now you're an established member of the special teams unit, and you're just trying to get a few snaps on the defense here and there. And now he's a senior, and it's come full circle. Like, he's expected to potentially be the second, you know, either the first or second string, however you want to look at it, the top inside linebacker on this roster. He's going to play alongside Connor McPherson, we all expect. And Coach Des was pretty clear. It's one of the first positions he gave us, you know, clarity on when we started talking about fall camp was, yeah, like Jake and Connor are going to start at linebacker. Other than that, we'll figure it out. So I'm happy for him, first of all, because he's a guy who's grinded his way to this point, but they're also going to rely on him. He is, you know, a very smart player. He seems to know where he's supposed to be. I don't think he's the greatest athlete in the world. I think he'd probably admit that to you, but can his kind of like knowledge of the game, his veteran leadership ability, combined with all that talent we keep hearing about with McPherson? And another thing, I try to pay attention specifically. I'm not a body language expert, but I try to really lock in on these things in press conferences. I asked Jake about Connor McPherson, and his eyes kind of lit up, which is what's happened for basically every coach we've asked about Connor and every teammate so far. So I am not off the hype train with McPherson. I think it's going to be there, and I'm hopeful that it's going to be everything that we kind of want it to be, right? Because if it's not, they might have some problems in the linebacking core, first of all, but also it's just been too much buildup for it to be a letdown. The one major injury addition that they're dealing with is Broderick Stewart. Broderick Stewart, we talked about the other day, but it's, you know, they are still waiting for some clarity on that, but that could be a problem if he's unavailable. Now, look, he's a young player. I don't know how much he was going to play, but they were really high on him. They thought he was going to be in there at least on a rotational basis. So that is one of the things to keep an eye on as you availability reports are back this week, by the way. Virginia released theirs. They got like 20 guys on it. It's like, how do they have 20 players hurt already? Sometimes that happens in camp, but seemed excessive. But still, like with that, it'll be interesting to see by this time next week, like who you have on that availability report, who's listed at least with a possible injury. We don't have 100% confirmation that Shelton Sampson's going to be back. They've never sounded like in all the times that Dez has updated us on Sampson's injury. And maybe this is me reading between the lines just a little too much, but it's never sounded like they were worried of him missing games. It's never sounded like that. Now, they may have been worried about how much work he was going to be able to get in before playing or how sharp he was going to look as a result of not getting all that work in. But I never once heard an answer where I thought, that doesn't really sound like he's going to be ready to go. Whereas like the Brock Chappelle injury that came up last week, you could definitely sense the uncertainty. Like they're going to hope for the best and wait and see, but they're not exactly sure. It sounded to me pretty consistently like they thought he was going to be able to play. So I started to think some of the big picture things, and we can revisit a lot of this next week when we have more time to talk season overview and then, preview the Lamar game in specific. Same way we'll get to do with LSU and the Clemson game and their season as a whole as well. It's almost a lazy way to say it is like this team's going to go as far as lunch is going to take them because I think it's more nuanced than that. Daniel Beal has been getting really good reports in camp, by the way, that he's back and kind of playing a lot better football. I still do think if lunch were to be lost, if he goes down at some point in the season and is going to miss 4 to 6 games or more than that, that's going to be a pretty tough spot to be in. But I don't know if it's necessarily because of Beal's skill set. It's just as much of like how different he and Lunch are. They've spent this entire offseason building things around what Winfield can do at the quarterback position. And it's not to say, that you don't have a lot of your playbook available to you, but it does change some things, right? And so when Ben and Chandler were both available at quarterback, and we know typically, whatever stretch of the time it was, when Ben or Chandler were available, the other one better be ready on short notice because those players both had to be used often. But the skill sets were similar enough to where it felt like you were running pretty much the same offense. The only thing is like with Chandler in there, he probably wasn't going to run some of the power RPO stuff, keeping the football, putting his head down to pick up a couple tough yards like Ben was just because of his frame. But other than that, you mostly were able to kind of keep things status quo. That's going to go out the window, but as we said before, let's not project injuries. You're certainly hoping that you get a healthy season. You're hoping that Lunch is out there for 12 games plus the postseason, whatever that entails. Cajuns would love it to be a conference championship game, a playoff game, and another one if that's the case. But regardless, I just think it's going to be the biggest question I have, regardless of who's playing quarterback, right? Or maybe I guess I should say like the level that Lunch is playing quarterback at. Do the pass catchers have enough? And are there enough of them? We do have the Sampson's concern early, but at some point you're hoping you're no longer worried about health with him and he's a given. What past that is going to be consistent for you? Does there come a time this season where you're really able to rely on Russell Babineau? I think that's a possibility. I'd love it to be the case, but do we get there? Same with Trenton Chaney. Young player, a lot of talent, a lot of ability. Do we get to the point in the season where we're going to be able to trust him? I'm not exactly sure. And lastly, like Landon Struthers, another one who's going to miss some time, but you feel like he was building some trust throughout the season or throughout the preseason camp towards being someone they relied on. It's still, I think, going to be a little bit tougher to have those players that Lunch is really confident in and counts on a lot. I think Caden Jensen could have a lot of catches this year. He's not the most athletic tight end they've ever had, but he's a good blocker. He's in the right spots. He catches the balls when they're near him, which can't be said about everybody in that receiving core last year. So I'm wondering how important that role is for him, right? He's not a player with the talent level that Terrence Carter had, but that's the reason Terrence Carter got paid a ton of money to play for Texas Tech. But he catches the football when it's thrown near him. He seems to be in the right spot. He's a good leader. He's a good blocker. He and Chappelle could be important. They could be really the players who step up. And then also can the backs get involved in the catching game as well, in the passing game. I think that's another kind of key factor of what's going to make this offense work at its ideal rate throughout the rest of the regular season. So, or I guess not the rest of, hadn't started yet, the regular season in its entirety. All right, we'll do this. We'll take a break. As we mentioned before, Louis DiBiase, our buddy, a little bit tied up with something. We're hoping he's going to be good to go on the other side of this. So if he is, we'll talk to him to close the show, do our Preview 32 segment with the host of Locked On Eagles. If he's not, then we'll just have to to entertain ourselves. We'll talk with James Mesh a little bit, close the hour out that way. For now, we'll take a break. Back in 3. It's the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is nearly time to celebrate the tall green sweet sugar cane that has long been a part of the fabric of Southwest Louisiana. That's right, the Louisiana Sugar Cane Festival and Fair, returning to New Iberia Friday, September 25th through Sunday, September 27th. The festival features the annual Blessing of the Crop, a carnival street fair, a 5K, car show, parades, pageants, and live music with Fade Odo, featuring musical acts Clay Cormier, Bad Boys Band, Chris Ardwan, and more. For more information, visit www.highsugar.org today.
Delta Media is your home for Friday Night Football. STM on ESPN 103.7, North Vermilion on 106.3 Lafayette, Catholic High of New Iberia on Mustang 107.1 FM, St. Landry Parish Game of the Week on Z105.9, LRCA on News Talk 98.5 FM, and Barb on ESPN 104.1. Listen to the games on the radio or on each station's free mobile app. Delta Media has you covered for thrilling Friday Night Football.
Are your pipes giving you problems? Is that leaky faucet driving you crazy? Don't wait for a plumbing disaster. Call the experts at Ace Plumbing, your trusted local plumbers for over 30 years. At Ace Plumbing, we do it all. Clogged drains, water heater repairs, pipe replacements, and more. With decades of experience, we deliver fast, reliable, and affordable solutions for your home or business.
Ace Plumbing fixed my burst pipe in no time, and the price was great. They're the only plumbers I trust.
From small leaks to big emergencies, Ace Plumbing is just one call away. We're available 24/7 because plumbing problems don't wait. Call Ace Plumbing today at 337-565-2519 or visit us online at aceplumbinginc.com. That's 337-565-2519.
Ace Plumbing, your personal plumber. Let us give you a hand.
And now time for the Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Ever wonder why bugs seem to love your home as much as you do? One big reason: moisture. Roaches, termites, and ants are drawn to damp areas. Check under sinks, around windows, and in attics for leaks and excess moisture. A little home maintenance goes a long way in keeping pests out. Got unwanted guests? Call Sugarland Exterminating at 337-367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com for more information.
Sugarland Exterminating. Pest-free environment we're creating. Spiders, roaches, rats, and mice. Those awful termites are not so nice. Get rid of all your pests right now. Call Sugarland Exterminating.
Termites, they're here. They're invasive. They can destroy your home if left untreated. Sugarland Exterminating has been in business for over 50 years, and they have the experience to effectively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
The NFL season is closer than you think. And D-Loh wants to make sure you're prepared once it's here.
I like this kind of party.
It's time for Preview 32 on the LohDown.
That is right. Preview 32 rolls on. We are officially, I believe we're over the halfway point at this point. We have, this is the halfway point. This is team number 16. So there we go. We will be at the halfway mark after this conversation, and we will have it with our friend Louis DiBiase, who covers the Philadelphia Eagles, host of Locked On Birds, also contributor for Locked On NFL. Louis, it's been a long time, man. How are you?
Great, man. It's good to talk to you. The season is right around the corner. Can't wait to talk ball.
No doubt about it, man. So, look, this Eagles team, it's been really fascinating to follow along. And the Jalen Hurts thing, like after the Super Bowl, his approval rating, and then where it is now. Like, Tell me from your perspective, man, what's it been like to try and acknowledge like what he's accomplished, and then yet I think probably still be fair about the places that he's had some shortcomings in recent seasons?
Yeah, I feel like you worded that perfect. It's been really difficult to cover this player, even though I feel like he's a very understandable quarterback. I think most would agree that, his high ceiling when it comes to mobility, when it comes to the deep ball, clutch moments in the biggest games, the playoffs, the Super Bowl, that elevates him to a certain tier, but also he does have shortcomings that I think keep him below the likes of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. I feel like it's understandable that he's I would say top 10 quarterback with top 5 moments, but because his highs and lows are so radical, I feel like both sides, there's two radical sides of the Jalen Hurts groupings where there's like haters and there's like diehard fans, and I think both sides are probably wrong about who he is as a player. So that's the thing is I think he's a pretty understandable player. Like he's a quarterback, you understand who he is, but because of his career accomplishments and his shortcomings, there's these kind of massive debates about who he is even after, winning a Super Bowl MVP 2 years ago. So it's been an interesting kind of path to follow him, as the Eagles franchise quarterback for these last 7 years. But I mean, it's been very accomplished, right? I think he's probably the greatest quarterback in franchise history. So, he was supposed to be a second-round backup, player to Carson Wentz. So I think it's worked out pretty well.
No doubt. I mean, that's the other thing, too. You kind of get lost in what the big picture thoughts are versus I guess it's just we had a glimpse of thinking maybe he is one of the premier top-flight quarterbacks, and then maybe we just learned that wasn't quite the ceiling. I am really interested in what it's going to look like this year, though, without A.J. Brown opposite Devontae Smith, because that's part of it, right? Well, hey, he's always had two great receivers. He's got a rookie in Mekhi Lemon, who a lot of people are very high on. But they bring in you have Dontavian Wicks, you got Elijah Moore in the conversation, Hollywood Brown. Like, what do you make of this group of pass catchers that now no longer includes A.J. Brown?
Yeah, look, nobody's going to be better than A.J. Brown in a vacuum for 2026, right? I don't think Mekhi Lemon on his own, Dontavian Wicks on his own, Hollywood Brown, even Devontae Smith. I don't think anybody will set the standard that A.J. Brown did from 2022 to 2025 on their own. But I do believe as a committee, like when you combine Devontae Smith with an increased workload this year, Mekhi Lemon is a first-round receiving talent, more targets to Dallas Goedert and Dontavian Wicks. I think as a group, and then when you also add on to the fact that I feel like this passing scheme with Sean Mannion as a first-time play caller running things on offense, I do think as a collective they will be able to improve on the passing side of the offense. Do I think, again, anybody will be better than A.J. Brown at his peak in Philadelphia? No. But I'm really excited about what Howie Roseman built. I feel like they did as good of a job as you could replacing a top-5 receiver still in his prime. So, I don't think there's one player that will replace him, but I really like the group that Howie built.
What about that Eagles defense, man? There was, obviously that stretch where the defensive line was virtually unblockable. It helped them win that Super Bowl. Last year, just moments where I'm like, man, is this group really living up to who they could be? What do you make of what that side of the football could look like this season?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the defense. They've had an awesome training camp. They've looked great in the preseason. It's a bunch of players just entering their prime, right? Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Reek Woolen in the secondary. I feel like that's the best cornerback trio in the league. Zach Bond is a top 5 linebacker. Jahad Campbell's a first-round pick from last year that showed a lot of promise in his rookie year before Nakobe Dean took back over. He'll be a full-time starter this year. And their front four, I mean, you trade for Jonathan Grenard. He's been injured, but I feel like when healthy, he's one of the most underrated edge rushers in the league. You re-sign Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis to long-term deals. All of these guys have been with Vic Fangio for 3 years now. I think easily that is a top 3 unit in the league, I'd say, on defense. You could argue, Houston might be better, maybe Seattle or Denver, but they're going to be the identity of this football team. If the Eagles are going to make a deep playoff run in 2026, I think the run game will bounce back as well as, improved passing, but it's really all about the defense. They have stars on all 3 levels, and I don't know if they've had that really since like the early 2000s when they made all those NFC title runs with, Brian Dawkins and that group.
One thing we're asking everybody this year, who's the most important player on this roster, Louis? Who do the Eagles have to have it from in order to be successful this year?
It's a great question. I think you could go a couple different ways with it. It could be Lane Johnson at right tackle. You could say Jalen Carter or, Quinyon Mitchell. I think it's Saquon Barkley. Obviously the quarterback is always a great answer for that question, but I think the Eagles' identity, even if they improve on offense, I don't believe this team will ever be with, this iteration with Jalen Hurts leading the way. I don't believe they'll ever be an offense that throws 30 to 40 times a game and win because of the pass. The run game is always going to set everything up. So at least for one more year, I'll say Saquon Barkley is still the most important player of this team. Like, to get things going, it's all about number 26. And it sounds like he's having a great summer. I don't know if he'll have the historic season of 2024, but I think he'll look a lot better than he did in 2025.
Well, we all are familiar, of course, with Saquon. What about somebody who's a little under the radar? Who's somebody that maybe isn't being talked about nationally that you think has a chance to make a big impact?
I really think it's Reek Woolen, their free agent signing from the Seattle Seahawks at cornerback. I just think when you look at his skill set, this guy is 6'4". He runs a 4.26 40-yard dash. He's been killing it in training camp. He's had 6 interception seasons before. When you look at what he's dealing with in the secondary, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were both first-team All-Pro corners last year. They're going to be covering the majority of the time the top weapons on an opposing offense. So Reek Woolen, I feel like, can play more aggressive. He can play free and try to make plays on the ball this year, covering like the third or fourth best option on an offense. So I feel like Reek Woolen, I don't believe he'll be a long-term piece with Philly because they're going to pay Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean extensions next year, both upwards of $30 million a year. So he's probably a one-and-done player. But I could totally see him being an all-pro level talent where he has 5 interceptions or more and he gets a big extension elsewhere next year. His skill set is so unique at corner, and he's going to be fascinating to watch in this defense.
What about this division, Louis? It's interesting to look at the NFC East, and I've seen, people make the prediction that this is the division where anybody could come in first or fourth. There's some that are high on the Giants. I'm not all the way there with those people, but I get it. Washington, if they get more of the 24 version than the 25 version. And then Dallas, seemingly has fixed some of the defense, and their offense was really solid a year ago. What do you make of that conversation, and where does Philly factor in? I personally kind of think they're still the favorites, but that's kind of been a little bit of a less popular opinion this year more than others.
I agree. I still think they're the favorites, but I don't think it's going to be the one-man race that it's been over the last couple of years. Last year was the first time a team had repeated as NFC East champions since 2004 when the Eagles did it in 2003 and 2004. So it's been over 20 years since, somebody was able to repeat as champions in this division. That shows the parity. That shows the competitiveness. It really hasn't been there over the last couple of years, but I do think that will be there this year. I don't think the division will be decided by, 2, 3, 4 games. I think it will come down to the wire. Who is the team battling Philly at the end? Like you said, Jaden Daniels, if he stays healthy with Terry McLaurin, they made the NFC title 2 years ago, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries this offseason, some suspensions. I don't love the Giants still. I think they're still more of a long-term piece. For me, it's Dallas, and I hate to say that as an Eagles guy, but their offense was one of the best in the league last year. And if their defense is even average this year, and I think they will get better, hiring Christian Parker from the Eagles as their new defensive coordinator, I think they're the team to watch. I think there will be at least 2 playoff teams in the NFC East this year, and I think the Cowboys are that other team to keep an eye on.
It will certainly be fun to watch it all play out. Louis, appreciate your time as always, man. We've almost made it. We've almost made it back. We will, of course, be chatting with you throughout the season, man, but thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, man. We're almost there. Appreciate you having me on.
That's Louis DiBiase, Locked On Eagles, also contributor for Locked On NFL. Great having him on the show once again. I like his answer, by the way. Saquon Barkley is the most important player on that team, and Reek Woolen, a little under the radar for you as well. So there you have it. I think that makes officially 16 of these done. I always have to check my notes. So I've got 7 on that page, 10, and then is it 6 on the first page? Yep, that's right, 16. So we have 16 done, 16 to go. We've got, what do we have? All 5 days of next week, although we do have one day where the Astros wipes us out, and then 4 days the following. Maybe make up some on Friday if we need to. Oh, no, the season starts Wednesday. But we've only got to have those teams done. So I think we'll be able to get it. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful we're going to get this thing done. It's We've done it each of the last 2 years, so I don't anticipate this year being the first year we don't have it happen. That is going to do it for the show, by the way. A little unique to end the show off with an interview, but it worked for Louis' schedule, and we were able to make it happen, so thank you to him for being flexible there. Want to thank our guests here. Started off with Chaston Tavares, as we said before. Chaston will be part of the ESPN Plus broadcast tomorrow night. McNeese and Stephen F. Austin. That should be a fun one. Keep it tuned in to social media, RP3 and BP. A little combo action there. They will be bringing you coverage, and we'll have some great content on the website and on the social media channels for that. Then at 2 o'clock, we talked with our friend Tyler Rowland about the Tennessee Titans. We rounded it all out with Louis DiBiase on the Eagles of Philadelphia. So that'll do it for us here on the show today. That'll do it for us here on the show this week. Thank you to James Mesh across the glass. We'll be back on Monday. A little special edition of the show. We'll talk to you about that on Monday, but have a good and safe weekend. Enjoy the high school football jamborees. Enjoy week 0. Stay safe as always, and we'll see you back here on Monday. This has been The Lowdown. You're listening to ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles. AFR is next.
Where do you go when you're looking for action? Where do you go when you're looking for fun? New friends you're gonna meet, more fun than Bourbon Street. The Big Easy, where winning is easy. Life's too short, so jump on in. Have all the fun you can. The Big Easy, where winning is easy.
Hand of the Day is the new way to win at the Big Easy Casino. Each Hand of the Day equals 1 entry into the Big Easy bonus cash drawings. Bonus cash drawings take place on the last day of each month. It's never